Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to be along for the ride with you today. It's 89 degrees here at the Estadio Maceo today, and looks to be picture-perfect weather for a very important fixture here in Group B of League A. This is the table coming into today's action. A win for Cuba could put them in very good position to stay in the right track as far as trying to progress to the Nations League finals. Only the top two teams get there. It really is pretty much a must-win for Trinidad and Tobago, not just to get out of the bottom two, but also to get towards the top of the table. And of course, we'll be eyeing that game between French Guiana and Honduras as well. They're in the 21st minute as we speak. They kicked off a little bit earlier. It's a 0-0 scoreline. That game also has quite a few ramifications here in League A. Well, it's the first ever meeting between these two countries in the Nations League, but there have been many more meetings outside of it between these two countries. Trinidad and Tobago lead the all-time series with 13 wins, 6 wins for Cuba, and 6 other matchups between these two have finished all square. Cuba so far in the Concacaf Nations League in what's a very difficult group. Back-to-back draws for them so far. So coming into the day, they were sitting in 4th, which would be enough for qualification to the Gold Cup prelims, but they want to get to the finals, and a win today could potentially put them back on track to doing that. Right now, Trinidad and Tobago sit in one of the 2 relegation places with a potential advance to the play-in round, but they would go back to League B. They want to avoid that. The Soca Warriors getting a win today could go a long way to avoiding that fate. 6 teams in a very tightly contested Group B. All 6 teams, after 2 matches each, separated by just 3 points. A lot of moving and shaking just today alone, just this week alone, could happen in Group B in League A. You might have seen some of the pictures in the lead up to this one. Great crowd on hand already for a huge game for Cuba, trying to stay unbeaten in the group and potentially set up a final match day where they could do a lot of positives in this group. Of course, these 2 teams will meet each other twice in a 5-day period. First here, and then a rematch next week in Trinidad and Tobago. That sound means that the processions have begun. Here in Cuba, the teams are out. And after the national anthems for both sides, we will get to the lineups and the kickoff between Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago.
Concacaf le da la bienvenida a todos los fanáticos del fútbol internacional. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2024-2025 Concacaf Nations League. Concacaf welcomes all the international football fans to this afternoon's match. Damas y caballeros, por favor, ponerse de pie para escuchar el himno nacional de Trinidad y Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for you to listen to the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. Damas y caballeros, por favor, mantenerse de pie para escuchar el himno nacional de la selección de Cuba. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up for you to listen to the national anthem of Cuba.
Well, a great rendition of both countries' national anthems here as we are approaching kickoff between Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago. And these two have never met in the Concacaf Nations League, but they're going to meet twice in the Nations League in the next 5 days, and it will decide both countries' fates as far as potential progression, potential maybe stagnation, at least some Gold Cup help there, or potential relegation. So the game means a lot, and Yunelis Castillo for Cuba has a very strong 11 here with him at home. Rico Arozarena gets the start in goal today, and then of course you immediately look at the attacking pieces. Mikel Reyes captains the side, Tyrone Reyes of Inter Miami helping out in the attack as well. Yasnier Matos, Orlando de la Cruz, and Junior Perez, some of the players to look out for in the hosts 11 here this afternoon. Now, Cuba are going to be in their navy blue, red, and white kits as they take their team photo here in front of their home support here at the Estadio Antonio Maceo. Now the captains are going to meet in the center with our officiating crew. It is an all Guatemalan officiating crew led by Sergio Reyna. Reyes, who captains the side for Cuba, meets Aubrey David, the captain for the Trinidad and Tobago side today, led by head coach Derek King, hoping to get their Nations League journey back on track. Really, the Soca Warriors had high expectations, but they are currently sitting bottom of the group. That's going to have to change today, and they're hoping this 11 can do the job. Denzel Smith gets the start in goal, Shannon Gomez, Justin Garcia, Tristan Hodge, some of the players to watch in defense. Andre Rampersad, Jovan Jones, all their notables to look out for. Noah Powder, Isaiah Lee, and the 38-year-old Kevon Woodley, making just his 4th appearance for his country, will lead the line out of Police FC, also of Trinidad and Tobago. It's one of the pivotal fixtures in this international window of Concacaf Nations League play. The winner could put themselves right on track to challenge for the top 2 spots, with a potential safety cushion of the middle 2 spots available to them as well. But the loser could be in some trouble and might have to fight off possible relegation going into next week's rematch. 2 games between these two in 5 days, and there's just so much on the line. Of course, a point for either side would help, but it would still put them in a vulnerable position pending the other results today around Group B. Again, we'll be keeping an eye on the French Guiana game against Honduras, and of course, later on today, a huge game in Managua between Nicaragua and Jamaica. And of course, there'll be 3 more games on Monday that'll help to sort out this very, very competitive group. Trinidad and Tobago get us started. They're going from left to right in their road whites with the red trim. Cuba are in red with the navy blue trim. Sean St. Jacques and entire crew, happy to have you along with us today. Trinidad and Tobago get off to a quick start here. The ball on the edge of the penalty area, and Woodley's shot is going to be saved by Rico Arozarena inside of 25 seconds. Well, time is of the essence for both of these teams, really. Just a couple of games left to prove that they belong at the high table of Concacaf Nations League play. And these two teams are going to get really familiar with each other. They're already pretty familiar outside of Nations League play, as we talked about earlier, after not playing each other in the first 4 editions of Concacaf Nations League. They're going to play each other 2 times in a 5-day stretch. And we'll have coverage, of course, of both games. That was Karel Perez trying to put the pressure on the Soca Warriors. And a referee spotted, I think, an infraction in the end. Regardless, it is going to be in the possession of Trinidad and Tobago off the restart. Here's the look. Physical play from both players involved, but I think there was a last touch in there from Perez, and a little bit of a push, I think, as well, but it does go Trinidad and Tobago's way. Denzel Smith, who has the start in goal today, will help the Soca Warriors clear their lines in the opening 2 minutes. Now, for those that have been following CONCACAF Caribbean Cup play, you've probably gotten accustomed to a few players on the Trinidad and Tobago side, and if you've been following Central American Cup play, a few of the Cuban players have certainly probably caught your eye as well. And now they're fighting for their national teams. And Cuba get a shot away on the edge of the penalty area, but it flies over the top. But the crowd appreciates the effort and the early encouragement. Yunelis Castillo watches on for Cuba. Back-to-back draws for Cuba in their opening 2 games in the group. A really impressive 0-0 draw in Kingston against Jamaica back in September kicked off their campaign, and then a late equalizer stopped them from getting a win last time out in Nations League play. Nicaragua getting a point deep into stoppage time, thwarting Cuba after a penalty conversion in the first half from Karel Espino, who is, of course, back in the starting 11 this afternoon for the hosts. Of course, it hasn't been as smooth sailing for Trinidad and Tobago. They started out with a 4-0 thumping at Honduras. La Ache were just excellent on the night. And Trinidad and Tobago, one of the more lopsided performances in a negative way we've seen from them in recent years. That normally doesn't happen to the Soca Warriors. They did get a 0-0 draw against French Guiana a month ago to the day, but they still have not gotten a win on the board, still on the 1 point. Good change of the attack out to the far side. Cuba with the ball in possession. Well, they slither it through to the edge of the 18-yard box and then forced to retreat all the way back to midfield, and it's controlled by Carlos Vasquez, who gets it back into the mix and is forced to help out again. Of course, both of these teams trying to get to the CONCACAF Nations League Finals. Of course, the announcement earlier this week at Hollywood Park and SoFi Stadium in Englewood, California, will be hosting the next 2, or should say 2025 and 2027 to be exact, CONCACAF Nations League Finals. It's just a huge deal for this competition to have another state-of-the-art venue be the host of this wonderful competition. That ball is clipped into the penalty area and out of the penalty area. It's a goal kick. That was Matos trying to pick somebody out, but Smith had it covered. Again, there's Yunelis Castillo, the Cuba head coach. He'll expect quite a bit today on home soil from his side. It's already been very competitive, not just on home soil, but away from home as well. Again, that 0-0 draw in Kingston, I think, turned a few heads at the start of this Nations League campaign, and they could really turn some heads if they could win here today. They'd surge up to 5 points, and again, pending the results, Cuba could finish the day in the top 2. Cuba play through the lines well, but they lose out, and a push in the back sees the visitors get a free kick after it was going so well. Espino, who was Cuba's goal scorer last time out in the Nations League, concedes the foul. Another look. It's actually very good work from Isaiah Lee for Trinidad and Tobago. He gives his country a chance to maybe get some service inside of the Cuban penalty area. Now there is Derek King, the Trinidad and Tobago head coach, and well, both coaches talked about how important this game is at the beginning of the day's build-up. And Derek King's side are going to score the opening goal. It's a wonderfully placed header off a brilliant service. And the Soca Warriors have the lead in Cuba. That's a gigantic goal for the visitors. Well, you can't draw it up much better than that. Brilliant ball into the penalty area, and it's Sheldon Bateau who heads it home. Brilliant start for Trinidad and Tobago. And on the road, they finally have their first lead of this Nations League campaign. It's a priceless goal for the Soca Warriors. And it could be the goal that finally gets them back on track. Bateau with a wonderful header. He climbed the highest, and he was pinpoint on the finish. After a positive start from Cuba, a well-executed set-piece move from Trinidad and Tobago gives them the lead. We just mentioned how it's the first lead Trinidad and Tobago have enjoyed in the Nations League. It's the first time Cuba has trailed in the Nations League this season. And they're looking for an immediate response here, the hosts. Good ball down the line. Cross into the middle, comes up short. And Trinidad and Tobago clear their lines. Well, both teams all of a sudden in uncharted territory in the Nations League. How will Trinidad and Tobago play with a lead? How will Cuba try to come back in this game today? Things for the respective countries they have yet to deal with in this group phase. Noah Powder plays it back. Bateau, the goal scorer, on the near side. Tries to bend it up ahead. Flag stays down. It was kept alive by Jovan Jones. Powder plays it all the way back. Well, the beautiful game can be a funny game at times. Trinidad and Tobago have so much attacking talent, but it's a defender that's given them their huge moment. And they could be on for another one here, but Arozarena makes the save. Of course, it's also Trinidad and Tobago's first goal in this group. Should mention that. And the defender is the one who scored it. Cuba win a free kick on the near side. Referee on the scene. Matos quickly gets it back into play and tries to clip it forward. But the Soca Warriors are able to again absorb the pressure and clear it away. Headed back for Arozarena, who just about got it clear. Kevon Woodley, again, he's 38, but he's as spry as ever, and his length could certainly give goalkeepers trouble in situations just like that. Flag stays down here. Cuba look for an equalizing goal, and it's off the post. Not cleared yet. The follow-up attempt by Reyes is bent wide and out of play for a corner. How close was that? Mikel Reyes, the captain, trying to equalize on the follow-up, but it was the initial attempt that smashed against the post. Another look. Goalkeeper Smith, I think, maybe gets a touch onto it. It comes off the upright, and then Mikel Reyes, trying to find it on the second attempt, wins the corner. And from the corner, it's sent wide by Espino. Now, two big chances, but Cuba not quite able to find a reply. I think the initial shot came in from Dairon Reyes, who also was not far away from getting Cuba back on level terms. Trinidad and Tobago tiptoeing the touchline on the far side, but the ball does go out of play as Cuba thought they were going to be able to move it up the field, and Tristan Hodge is in some discomfort here for Trinidad and Tobago. Now, there was a tightly contested battle in every sense on that far side. Tristan Hodge, of course, in the middle of his second season with Hartford Athletic in the second division of the USL Championship. They're on a playoff push at the moment. Here is Jovan Jones finding Woodley. Still no goals, by the way, between French Guiana and Honduras. Cuba look to bring this back up the other end, and it's Bateau, the goal scorer, putting in the challenge, and he wins a throw-in as well. Referee says there was a deflection. And the goal scorer cleans it up perfectly on the defensive end. It's going to be thrown back in by Shannon Gomez after there is a little bit of a stoppage here. Now we're back to live action. Clever touch by Andre Rampersad to make sure that Cuba didn't take that right away. But now they do win the ball back, the hosts. Reyes is in the middle. That's who they try to find. It's touched away and kept alive so that Tristan Hodge can win a goal kick off the ricochet. Now you look now at the live table, and well, there's going to be a lot of table watching over the next couple of weeks throughout all the leagues in Concacaf Nations League, but that goal puts Trinidad and Tobago into 4th place in the live table, and then it becomes a 4-way tie for first as well. In Group B, Cuba would be sitting in 5th, 2 points off the chase. Of course, the bottom 2 would get relegated down to League B. Again, just another reason to keep an eye on that French Guiana-Honduras game, and then of course a massive late-night game between Jamaica and Nicaragua. And that's just in this group. Long-range effort, oh, knocked down by Arozarena, who in the end collects it rather comfortably. Good strike, but it was right at the Cuban goalkeeper, who also plays in the USL Championship, plays for Las Vegas Lights, who just clinched their first ever playoff spot the other night. They're having a wonderful season at the moment. And they have a chance to host a playoff game in the first round, so it's been a wonderful season for club and for country for Raiko Arozarena. But he might have to be called upon here. It's Woodley putting it wide. Oh, Raiko Arozarena basically cut down the angle at the near post, but Woodley was moving away from goal, and it showed in the shot. Another look, it's a wonderful ball in behind by Lee, and Woodley couldn't quite square it up. Now, we have been told that Honduras have scored in the other game. They have a 1-0 lead going into the half, and that puts them 2 points clear of everybody else right now in the live table on 6 points. French Guiana now firmly in 6th. And again, as far as this game is concerned, Trinidad and Tobago in 4th, Cuba in 5th for now in the live table. Cuba trying to change that here. The initial cross is blocked. Matos follows up and wins a throw-in. From the throw, that's kept alive for Perez. His ball into the middle comes up short, but another chance to follow up. It's Junior Perez, but it's well fielded by Smith, and Trinidad and Tobago are able to deal with that attacking sequence. Another look, an ambitious effort. At the end, it really was pretty comfortable. I think Smith would have expected to make a clean catch on that, and he did. And Sheldon Bateau's header has Trinidad and Tobago ahead with their first goal of the tournament. And they'll win a free kick here. As the challenge came in, it was a bit overzealous from Karel Espino. I think that's the second time he's committed a foul in this first half, so he'll have to be careful as far as avoiding a possible booking. Ball's clipped ahead looking for Woodley. Vasquez back for Arozarena. And there's time and space for Cuba to build this out of the back. And now the pressure comes from Jovan Jones to try to pick up the tempo just a tick. Chance at a give and go here on the edge of the penalty area. But again, critical touches defensively from Trinidad and Tobago. I think that was Aubrey David doing the job. And surely Woodley is offside there. That is the outcome. Flag is up. The ball actually almost bounced very kindly there for Trinidad and Tobago, but Kevon Woodley didn't anticipate it and was offside by at least a couple of steps. Matos trying to slide that through for Reyes, and now Smith resets in the end for the visitors here. Good pressure here from Cuba, and they're going to win a throw-in on the far side. One or two times here, Cuba's been able to make Trinidad and Tobago really work, and they play it out of the back. Down the far side it goes. Nice little 1-2. It's played across for Reyes. And Mikel Reyes skies the chance. Wonderful ball played into the captain. He appreciates the service. He just couldn't keep his shot down. He was put off maybe a little bit by the extension of the leg by Shannon Gomez, who was trying to block the shot. But Reyes is not able to trouble Smith in goal. Denzel Smith and company are able to clear their lines. Another close call for Cuba. And Trinidad and Tobago, I think, have been awarded a free kick right around midfield. Reverse ball onto this near side is cut out, trying to find Gomez. It's Matos who's fouled. And Cuba aren't going to waste any time moving this forward. Perez. Lovely little 1-2. Can Perez get back there? Oh, not quite. Shouts for a penalty from the fans, not from the players, and that tends to tell you all you need to know. But Trinidad and Tobago have a chance to come up the other end. Was there a push in the back from Espino? Jovan Jones thought so. Referee lets it go. Espino with time and space, and he tried to thread the needle to Reyes. But again, Trinidad and Tobago get a touch on it. Here's Jovan Jones. Well, it was recycled, and now Cuba allowed to push forward with some pressure. Led by Reyes. Clipped ahead by Smith. And Woodley, was he clattered into there? Referee allows play to continue. Matos. Lovely ball in, and it's touched out of the 6-yard box. And Trinidad and Tobago recover the possession, just about, with Jovan Jones. Chance to bring this forward here for the visitors. Woodley's making a run as well, but he's drifted offside. And Trinidad and Tobago are forced to slow it down just for the moment. Rampersad gets it back from Gomez. Bato plays it square for Powder. Garcia back for David. Aubrey David's had some critical defensive interventions already. We're just coming down on the first 25 minutes gone here. And then the ball played forward is inaccurate. And it's an easy pickup for a reset for Raiko Arozarena. Reyes, we tried a little flick, but the two players were not on the same page. Woodley, strong hold-up play from him. He finds Jones. back for Smith. Ooh, Smith didn't have the best touch on that. One back again by Cuba. Morejon helps to reset. Again, Bato's goal. As Trinidad and Tobago ahead, it's his 4th goal for his country. He has over 50 appearances for Trinidad and Tobago. Another chance to cross this into the middle. Reyes was there, but it's headed back out of play, and it's a Cuba corner on the far side. Aubrey David continues to lead that back line and really, of course, as the captain, lead this team. He's had already a couple of huge interventions, and there's another one. And Cuba aren't able to come up with anything from the corner. Matos. Little give and go with Espino. Matos again. Matos gets it back, and the shot is blocked. I think Aubrey David gets another touch onto that. Woodley tries to hold up the play, and he's fouled. And we were looking at this earlier, maybe one too many fouls from Espino. It's not that challenge, it's, I think, the follow-up. Yellow card has been brandished here. And Woodley might need a moment or two. Referee has not put the yellow card away yet. Well, he's starting to wonder if maybe it's Woodley who's been penalized here. The original indication was that it was a Trinidad and Tobago free kick. Well, this injury stoppage might lead to an impromptu cooling break here. As we approach the half-an-hour mark, I think both teams just got summoned to get some refreshments here. Again, it's another hot, humid day here in Cuba. I think it was about 89, 90 degrees Fahrenheit before kickoff. Both teams using this injury stoppage to get a little bit of a reprieve, and then we'll hopefully get confirmation on who's been booked here. And if Woodley does pick up a yellow card, it's not a big surprise. I think just only a little bit of a surprise because the referee had originally given the free kick to the visitors here. Woodley is booked, as we had suspected. And that would mean that the referee has given the decision to Cuba. Well, Espino was in the area, but the only other player that got close to it was Corel Perez. And after the initial point in the opposite direction, it is a Cuba free kick. So we did get that cleared up. Another chance for the hosts here with 15 minutes left in the first half, plus, we think, some stoppage time. Woodley is back on. It's actually the first yellow card that our referee Sergio Reyna has handed out today. Espino, oh, lovely clip ball in behind, and the volley is wide. Well, the first touch was immaculate inside the penalty area. It's the shot that leaves a bit to be desired here. The volley goes well wide of the target, but take nothing away from the clip ball in behind by Karel Espino. It was on a plate. It's a goal kick, and it ranks amongst the best chances Cuba has had in this first half. Oh, great ball forward through the lines as well. Oh, and there's some of the lovely skill from Dairon Reyes, who of course hit the post earlier. He wins a free kick. And Cuba get another chance to build forward. Espino. Can Cuba get back on level terms before the end of the first half? They've looked the more likely to score since Trinidad and Tobago opened things up with their first goal of the tournament back in the 8th minute. That's some lovely build-up play here. It's Reyes leaving it for Dairon Reyes, blocked. And Trinidad and Tobago can break up the other end if they hurry. But Cuba do get enough numbers behind the ball. And they win the ball back cleanly. Cuba will reset. It's Perez on the near side. Espino. Perez out wide. Junior Perez. Lovely switch of play. Matos, we just tried to fizz one in there. Looking for a ricochet touch, but it was cleanly cleared away. Not definitively cleared, however. Another good ball back through the lines. Matos couldn't control it. A little bit of miscommunication at the back. Trinidad and Tobago goalkeeper was not heard. And then Woodley has to be careful here. Was just booked a moment ago and gets a talking to from the referee as he's committed another foul. Well, we will be keeping our eye as well on Kevon Woodley as the match progresses. Cannot afford to lose one of your better attacking players in the squad. Or any player for that matter, as far as the second yellow is concerned. Especially in a game of this magnitude where, despite some of the Cuban pressure over these last 10 to 15 minutes, Trinidad and Tobago still in front. Cuba get the throw on the far side, ticking down on the final 10 minutes in the half. Reyes trying to spin and turn and shoot from a very tight angle. Looks like he does win a corner out of this. Now Trinidad and Tobago scored from a set piece. Let's see if Cuba have something up their sleeves here. Dairon Reyes. And it's sent back. It's lovely skill to keep it alive. It's De La Cruz. Bending it wide of the target. Well, it had good shape on it, but I don't think it had enough pace to really trouble King. And certainly not to trouble Smith in goal. So it's a goal kick. Trinidad and Tobago have been riding their luck a little bit in this first half. They haven't really threatened to score too much after the opening goal. Maybe the one opportunity from Woodley comes to mind, and then a save on a shot from outside the penalty area that Rosarena was able to deal with, but that's about it. Cuba have been pushing and pushing for the equalizer, but to give Derek King's side some credit, they have been able to fend off those attacking moves. And Andre Rampersad wins a free kick. Still 1-0 to Honduras in the game against French Guiana. They just got underway a few minutes ago at the start of the second half there. Near side, this is Gomez for Trinidad and Tobago. Rampersad helping it along. Powder, not the best pass from him. Gives it away. Jovan Jones couldn't get it off of Reyes. Karel Perez. Forced to go back to Morejon. Espino out to the far side. Lovely little dummy from Perez. And they try to get it back to him. It was clever from Matos. You could see exactly what was going through his mind, but the pass was just behind him. That was nearly a wonderful bit of build-up from Cuba, but it fizzled out at the end. That was a critical intervention by Justin Garcia, and then the foul goes against Morejon further up the field. Again, Kevon Woodley staying involved, wins the free kick this time. And again allows Trinidad and Tobago, for now, to alleviate more of the pressure. Reverse ball out to the far side. Rampersad comes in to get it. Powder forced to reset back to David. Garcia. Powder up ahead, and there's time and space for Jovan Jones. Gets it back from Gomez. Woodley for Powder. Not the best touch there from Woodley, but he is able to hold it up. Near side, that was a lovely little touch by Gomez. Here's Rampersad. Sliding it through, it could be a chance here for Trinidad and Tobago, but the cross was blocked. That was Isaiah Lee trying to play it square. And the Soca Warriors will still get a throw-in out of it. Well, could the visitors double their lead here at the end of the half? They scored slightly against the run of play to open the tally. We'll have to reset from another throw-in. Gomez ignores the ball being thrown back into his chest. And then Cuba wins a free kick. Morejon, I think it was, who was brought down. Ooh, check that. It was actually a foul. I think against Jovan Jones in the end on a push out there. Might have been Reyes who got the brunt of that, but Cuba aren't able to do much with the possession. They give it right back. The header from Sheldon Bateau is still the difference at the moment. and has Trinidad and Tobago jumping up 2 spots in the live table. Flag has stayed down here. Could be a second goal for Trinidad and Tobago, but it's blocked away. And Isaiah Lee can't pick up the pieces after he was thwarted. One back by Rampersad. Rampersad looks for space, and Woodley drags it wide of the target. 2 golden opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago, neither of them taken. Well, it looked like the chance had gone after Isaiah Lee couldn't capitalize on his run where he stayed onside. But give a ton of credit to Andre Rampersad. Out of nothing, he creates another chance. But Woodley was not able to put it on target. That goes down as a massive missed chance. Tyrone Reyes up the other end. His ball is gonna fly out of play. Well, Trinidad and Tobago were nearly richly rewarded for absorbing the pressure. They could have taken a 2-0 lead into the half. They still might, of course. There's still 3 minutes plus stoppage time left. But you're not gonna get, especially in games like this, many better chances than that. Here's Powder, sending it to this near side, and Gomez tried to ricochet it off of Perez, but he sees Perez find a Rosarena for a Cuba reset. We've only had 1 goal, but we could have had at least 2 or 3 more between these 2 sides in this first half. Reyes. Is it for Tyrone Reyes? Near side, Matos. And still Matos, blocked by Gomez. Nastia Ramos forced to retreat. Matos. Tyrone Reyes keeping it alive. Out to the far side, it's clipped in. It took a deflection, and the header by Michael Reyes is cleared. Now Matos, Tyrone Reyes, and Michael Reyes trying everything they can to break through this Trinidad and Tobago defense. Was there a foul there? Referee says no, but it does go to Trinidad and Tobago on the throw-in. Final minute before we see how much stoppage time there is to go in the half. Another look, great extra effort earlier from Rampersad. He keeps it alive. Woodley was, well, let's not say open, but had enough space to get the shot away and dragged it wide. There is a player down here for Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago will send out some medical staff to attend to the fallen player. It looks like it's Tristan Hodge, who hasn't been down just the once in this first half. It's been multiple times, and it looks like there's going to be 4 added minutes at a minimum left to go in the half. Now Tristan Hodge, who again is a very important piece to Derek King's puzzle for Trinidad and Tobago. They wouldn't want to lose him. He's been down a couple of times in this first half. Ball's back in play. We can tell you that there is an update from the other game going on in the group. French Guiana have equalized against Honduras just about on the hour. 1-1 is the score there. Cuba look to equalize here. And Michael Reyes sends it just wide of Smith's goal. Another good chance for the hosts, but again, not taken. Well, Reyes was being closed down on, and well, Smith knew where that was ending up. Aubrey David, the one doing just enough. That was captain on captain. And again, Trinidad and Tobago lived to tell the tale. What that does for the group is that's going to be a foul going the other way. Honduras stay in first, but again, it's now a four-way tie in the live table on 4 points from first through fourth. Trinidad and Tobago for now are involved in that. French Guiana would be up to 2 points after scoring their first goal of the Nations League group stage. What a huge goal that could turn out to be in the context of the group. French Guiana have been very competitive as well in this group phase, but they finally get their reward. Like the goal was scored by Rafael Galas. Well, now a player down for Cuba. At the very end of the half here, Alejandro Delgado, it appears, is the one who needs extra attention. Well, there's been a few injuries in and around stoppage time here, so it'll be up to the referee and the fourth official, of course, to keep track of how much longer we play in this first half. Big chances for both teams throughout, but it's been the headed opening goal from Sheldon Bateau that is still standing up for Trinidad and Tobago as of now. By the time this injury stoppage ends, I think 4 minutes might be up. So we'll see if we play into a 5th, 6th, or maybe even a 7th added minute. Again, that's all up to our officiating crew here. That could also potentially impact substitutions, whether it's at the end of this half or maybe at the start of the second half. We just saw some signals there that Alejandro Delgado might not be able to continue. But Yunelis Castillo could potentially try to play a little bit of a risky play and hold out with 10 on the pitch to halftime and then maybe reevaluate then. Some coaches like to do that, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, we send our best wishes to Alejandro Delgado. I don't know if he'll be able to continue as he's being helped off in a stretcher. Now, Daniel Diaz is getting set to come on. So the change is going to be made, it looks like. So Daniel Diaz is on, and presumably that is the end of the day for Alejandro Delgado. So Yunelis Castillo was clearly given information that the change needed to be made now. No need to wait. And Delgado is gone for the day, of course, and Diaz will take his place. Tristan Hodge is getting set to rejoin us. Oh, and Daniel Diaz is actually being sent back to the fourth official here. A little bit of miscommunication, I guess, between Cuba and the fourth official. The fourth official did not hold up the subs board to confirm the change. So now the change is confirmed. Delgado off, Daniel Diaz is on. And we're approaching a 7th added minute at the end of the half. Ooh, that's going to be a free kick going the other way. Diaz trying to leak in behind. It's a free kick. Ball was clipped forward. Trinidad and Tobago couldn't hold up the play. Tyrone Reyes trying to slip it through. Michael Reyes, saved by Smith. Touched away by Gomez. Now the Reyes to Reyes connection nearly comes off again for Cuba. Perez to the byline. Cross into the middle, soars over everyone's head. And as it rolls out of play, that is going to be that for the first half here in Cuba. Well, a lot of back and forth seesaw moments from the first 45 minutes. One look at the last moment from the half. Big save from Smith. Michael Reyes was involved in multiple chances in that first half. But the big goal scored by Sheldon Bateau is still enough to give Trinidad and Tobago a 1-0 lead at the half. Big 45 minutes still to come, but at the half in Cuba, it's Cuba 0, Trinidad and Tobago 1. Sean St. Jacques back here with you. About to get the second half started here between Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago in this Concacaf Nations League. League A, Group B fixture here in Cuba. 1-0 again to the visitors at the half. Of course, we do have an update on the other game going on as well. Honduras were pegged back at one point. It was 1-1 in the second half, but since we last updated you on that, 2 goals have been scored by Honduras, and they have a 3-1 lead at the moment. Looks like Trinidad and Tobago are going to make a halftime change here, at least 1, 2 in fact. Kevon Woodley is going to exit. Ryan Telfer comes on to take his place, and I think there was one other change in there. Cuba are also going to make an alteration. Ray Angel is going to replace Karel Perez. So 1 change for Cuba, 2 for Trinidad and Tobago at the start of the second half. Not surprised to see Kevon Woodley go off. He was on a yellow card. Actually came within a challenge or 2 of getting himself into some trouble. He did have 2 of the better chances for the Soca Warriors in the first half. Looks like Ross Russell Jr. was the other player to come on for Trinidad and Tobago. So a double change for Derek King's group, holding onto a 1-0 lead and hoping to make it stand up as they continue to try to push their way out of the bottom 2 of this 6-team group. In the live table, they would do that, and they'd be in a 3-way tie for second place, along with Caribbean rivals Jamaica and Nicaragua as well. As we begin the second half here in Cuba. Cuba will be going from left to right at the start of the second half, and we are thrilled to see how this one's going to play out. Again, Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew. As we look back through those changes, again, Angel on for Perez for Cuba. That was their 1 halftime change, along with the change they made right at the end of the first half. So 2 changes have been made by Unalise Castillo's group. Tristan Hodge did end up coming off. But the first halftime change for Trinidad and Tobago, Ross Russell Jr. takes his spot as Cuba trying to thread the ball through here, and the shot is saved by Smith. As we're about to tell you about Ryan Telfer coming on for Woodley, Cuba nearly equalized here. Oh, very tight on a potential offside call. Flag stayed down, it looks like initially, and Smith comes up with the stop. And it would have been a very tight call if the goal ended up going in, of course. Trinidad and Tobago again survive Cuba attacking sequence to hold on to their 1-0 lead. I think it's fair to say that if it stays the way that the game has been going as far as pace and opportunities, one goal might not be enough for Trinidad and Tobago to get all 3 points. Remember, first ever meeting in the Nations League between these two. There's been plenty of meetings outside of it, as we highlighted earlier, 25 of them. In fact, Trinidad and Tobago trying to beat Cuba for the 14th time in the country's history. Cuba hoping to beat Trinidad and Tobago for a 7th time. And Cuba also, and coming into the game, only lost 1 of their last 11 fixtures in Concacaf Nations League play. That is in jeopardy at the moment. Here is Telfer. Telfer's first involvement finds Andre Rampersad. And Rampersad actually rolled the ball beautifully between a couple of defenders, but then was found out in the penalty area. Again, we'll be keeping an eye just in case there's any late twists. In that Honduras-French Guiana game, there's 6 minutes plus stoppage time to go there. And then after our game, few hours I should mention, after our game, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Nicaragua host the Reggae Boys of Jamaica, also in this group. But there's still a lot of business to be taken care of here in Cuba. Chance to find a cross here. Remember, Cuba are in red. And they could have an equalizer here. Oh, just wide. Patient build-up play from the hosts. And this shot goes a whisker wide of the post. It's Matos on the centering attempt. Tyrone Reyes. Oh, how unlucky is he? Good effort. Smith was rooted to the spot, at least initially. It's just wide of the target. Fine margins. Cleared up field by Ross Russell Jr., but Cuba retrieves it to reset the attack. One back nicely here for Ryan Telfer, whose touch was too firm, and he loses out. Telfer then trying to win the ball back, commits a foul, and it's a free kick. Cuba are able to play through Trinidad and Tobago's attempts to stop their free kick. Referee could have stopped the play there, but Cuba can continue their attack here. Michael Reyes blocked on his cross attempt. Orlando de la Cruz trying to weave his way into space. De la Cruz, it was clever. And in traffic, Trinidad and Tobago clear it, but not definitively. It is recycled all the way back to Junior Perez to reset. And then he gives the ball away. There's a pullback on Jovan Jones. It's a free kick. And there's going to be more than that. There's going to be a yellow card. Looks like that's going to be the substitute. I think Ray Angel, who received the yellow, will await confirmation, but I think that was the outcome. When the referee has spotted a player down here, we'll get to that in a second. Well, Ray Angel will just not let Jovan Jones go, and well, he's only been on the pitch for 5 minutes. Has quickly worked his way into the referee's book. First yellow card for a Cuba player in this game, and it's the only yellow card that's standing up right now because, of course, Kevon Woodley was taken off at halftime. Andre Rampersad maybe explaining why Rayonel picked up a yellow card for that. The concern is for Trinidad and Tobago at the moment here. It is their goal scorer, Sheldon Bateau, who is struggling to continue here. And, well, does Derek King have to make a change? I think he only has one listed defender left on his bench. Of course, a bunch of midfielders who could maybe fill that role, but the last listed defender on the bench is the very experienced Alvin Jones, who also plays for Police FC. We just saw them put up a heck of a fight in the Caribbean Cup. They were eliminated, but it does look like Alvin Jones is getting set to come on. That was played across nicely for Jovan Jones, but he never got to it. It's one back here by Trinidad and Tobago, and the cross into the middle was dangerous, but it's headed out. Well, can the visitors double their advantage here? If it's kept in play, and it is, they could get a chance at it. But the cross into the middle is deflected out for a corner. Referee looking over to see if Trinidad and Tobago are ready to make the alteration before the set piece is to be taken. And I don't think he saw what he wanted to see. Now he has. And unfortunately for Sheldon Bateau, it's been a memorable day for him so far, but it ends prematurely. And the very talented and experienced Alvin Jones is on, trying to help the cause for his country right away. Jovan Jones has his cross punched away by Raiko Arozarena, and Cuba could break up the other end here if they hurry. It's Dairon Reyes trying to slide it through, but Alvin Jones makes a huge contribution in transition. And now Trinidad and Tobago can bring it up the other end. Numbers arriving. The shot is saved by Arozarena. It's kept alive, and then there's a late challenge that comes in. Yellow card is shown. Free kick. Telfer brought down by Espino. Karel Espino booked for leaving a boot in there. Telfer fouled right on the edge of the penalty area. And it's a free kick for Trinidad and Tobago in prime real estate here. And of course, Ryan Telfer's only been on the field for about 9 minutes, and he needs some attention. We talked about for a vast majority of the first half how Cuba were the more likely to find an equalizer, but Trinidad and Tobago had some chances of their own, and they're becoming more and more of the aggressor for these last couple of minutes, trying to double their lead and really put Cuba in a tight spot. Another look at the live table, for us at least, in Honduras. Still leading 3-1, closing in on what would be a big victory for them. Put them in the top 2 for now, pending the Jamaica-Nicaragua result later. Trinidad and Tobago would be in 4th place on 4 points, and Cuba would drop down to 5th, which at the moment, of course, is a relegation position, along with French Guiana. Referee backs up the wall. 4 men in it. Alvin Jones, Andre Rampersad discussing who's going to take this. Wall's gotten even bigger for Cuba. It's bent right into the wall. Not the best of clearances. Actually almost went right on target. And Arozarena collects. The clearance got closer to the goalkeeper than the shot. And Trinidad and Tobago leave a little bit to be desired from that set piece opportunity. Now can Cuba bring it back up the other end. It was a good touch by Michael Reyes. He continued his run. Nearly fell for Dairon Reyes. And Cuba recycle the possession. Some more patient build-up from the host. It's clipped towards the edge of the penalty area, but it bounces past Espino. And Jovan Jones able to keep possession back to Alvin Jones. Smith. And Trinidad and Tobago have to be careful with Cuba's high press. They do clear it, but they concede a throw in the process. That's a giveaway. And Trinidad and Tobago have a chance here in transition. It's clipped up ahead. It's Lee. It's wide. Isaiah Lee, he's had a couple of chances himself in this game today. That was a really good opportunity, but by cutting it back, he actually allowed Cuba to be well positioned to stop his shot. And Cuba bring it back up the other end. The since departed Sheldon Bato, he was substituted off a few minutes ago, I should say. His goal is still the only goal of the game. A headed finish back in the 8th minute. Again, Honduras trying to hold on at the moment against French Guiana. If they do hold on, for now, puts Honduras at the top of Group B in League A. And while we were telling you about that, I think Denzel Smith has gone down for Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, the goalkeeper. He's seen a little bit of a tough moment. But one of the reasons we were telling you that Honduras were holding on is because French Guiana scored a second goal. It's now 3-2. But is there enough time for them to overturn it and get it back to 3-3? That goal was scored in the 90+4th minute. So we'll see if French Guiana have a late twist up their sleeves. That would help out a few teams ahead of them in the group. They could take 2 points off of Honduras. We're in the 60th minute here. Still the slim 1-goal margin in Trinidad and Tobago's favor. Again, remember, these two teams will meet again on Monday. If Trinidad and Tobago can go on and win this game, they'll still be in the mix to fight for a spot in the Concacaf Nations League finals. Remember, the top 2 teams go to the quarterfinal round. That's out of each group. The next 2 teams qualify for the Gold Cup prelims. And after that, you're fighting for play-in spots. And well, the bottom 2 teams, of course, get relegated to League B. Both of these teams have been really accustomed to League A play. Cuba did get relegated in the first season of Concacaf Nations League 2019-2020. So did Trinidad and Tobago, funnily enough. But both were promoted the very next time. Oh, this ball's gonna get in behind, and Trinidad and Tobago have a golden chance to make it 2-0, and they miss the chance. My goodness, Jovan Jones had Rico Rosarena beaten, but he couldn't hit the target. He cuts it back onto his favored left boot, and in some ways, by doing that, he's bailed a Rosarena out. Will we come back to that chance later on, if Cuba can come back? Add that to the list, really, for both teams of missed opportunities. And here Ryan Telfer is in an offside position. It's a Cuba free kick. Well, I think even Jovan Jones would tell you he should have scored that. Cuba let off the hook. Can they take advantage of it? Espino. Near side, a chance for De La Cruz. Well, which side of the flag was it out off of? It looks like it's going to be a throw-in. Well, that game's gone final between French Guiana and Honduras. Honduras have won it by 3-2. As a player for Cuba is down here. So again, the way we showed you the table earlier, or at least expressed the table to you earlier, is how it stands. Honduras in first on 6 points. Jamaica and Nicaragua second and third. Trinidad and Tobago in the live table in fourth. Cuba fifth. French Guiana in sixth. Of course, that means with that defeat that French Guiana are not going to be able to qualify for the top 2 spots in the group. The reason for that is because Jamaica and Nicaragua play each other later, and someone's going to get points there, if not 1 point. French Guiana can't catch any of those 3 teams for the top 2 spots, so they're, at this point, going to be fighting to avoid relegation down to League B the rest of the way. That is worth mentioning. Well, Cuba now are starting to get some players ready, at least one, for a possible change. Aniel Casanova is being prepared. It's a Cuba throw. Trinidad and Tobago were furious with the assistant's decision. The referee in the center says enough of the chatter. From the throw, Trinidad and Tobago clear it, but not definitively cleared. Vasquez wins it back. It's a long-range strike. Oh, it's a brilliant finish! Cuba equalize with a dynamite strike. Just like that, it all changes again here in Group B. A brilliant leveler. 1-1 with 25 minutes to play. And how's that for a strike? Just pinned into the bottom left-hand corner. Just the spark that Cuba were hoping for, right as they were about to make a change as well. And I think Michael Reyes was booked. Ray Angel is the goal scorer. And tempers are starting to fray in the middle of the park. It still hasn't simmered down. Again, Ray Angel with a wonder strike makes it 1-1. Cuba are getting ready a substitution as well. Aniel Casanova is about to come on, and then I think a yellow card came out from Michael Reyes. And that might not be the end of the story. Again, there was tempers fraying back at midfield. Brilliant response from Cuba. Can't say they don't deserve it for all the pushing that they've had all game to this point. And we talked about how Trinidad and Tobago moments ago had a chance to make it 2-0. Well, they've been pegged back. And in the live table, this is how quickly things can change. Trinidad and Tobago drop back down to 5th. Cuba up into 4th place. The inclinations here, well, there might be another change on the table. Well, Tyrone Reyes was the player down earlier. He is done. Casanova takes his place. And Trinidad and Tobago, how many changes are they potentially going to make here? Kevin Molino is getting set. But will Denzel Smith have to be substituted out as well? Christopher Baguette and Adrian Fonsette are the two backup goalkeepers for Derek King. And Adrian Fonsette is the player who's been summoned. Denzel Smith, well, I wonder if his injury impeded him from getting a closer look at that strike from Ray Angel. But to be fair, even at full fitness, he would have had to do quite a bit to save it. It was a wonderful strike. Before the kickoff is to be taken, those changes are going to be made. Smith is off. Adrian Fonsette is on. Will the referees see another change? Or just the one for now, it looks like. They'll keep Kevin Molino waiting for now, I think. Well, Trinidad and Tobago kicked the game back off, and it's a very different game now. Trinidad and Tobago led for nearly an hour, but Ray Angel has canceled out the goal. 1-1, and now all three results are very much back in play. Cuba in search of a comeback. Trinidad and Tobago want their lead back. Rampersad wins a free kick. Rampersad again, up ahead. Jovan Jones out wide. Gomez forced back. Cuba win the ball back. Oh, and then as Trinidad and Tobago were about to swoop in, a late challenge gives Cuba a free kick. Perez. One back by Lee for Trinidad and Tobago. Rampersad gets it back from Jones. Jovan Jones on the turn, forced back as well to Alvin Jones. Now can Derek King's side find their footing again and get their lead again? Or are Cuba going to turn this game on its head? Oh, this is lovely. Down the near side, Ross Russell Jr. plays it across. It's headed down by Rampersad. Jovan Jones scores a magnificent goal. A lightning quick response from Trinidad and Tobago. Jovan Jones with a miraculous turn and finish. And just like that, the Soca Warriors jump back out in front. One brilliant goal is answered by another. Jovan Jones provides the jolt for Trinidad and Tobago and makes up for his earlier miss with a wonderful finish. More Nations League drama. Back and forth we go in Cuba. 2-1 is the score. Noah Powder will come out on the substitution. Kevin Molino is going to finally enter. My goodness. Ray Angel scored a wonderful goal for Cuba, but it's been canceled out. Jovan Jones answers with a beauty. and Cuba have to do it all over again. This back and forth game had a few more twists and turns in store for us. And Trinidad and Tobago win the ball right back off the kickoff. And they'll have a throw-in on the far side. Oh, Cuba got the huge moment in their hour of need. But what a response by Jovan Jones. Sometimes you just need the quality to come to the forefront. And we've seen two special goals. That was a chance to turn and maybe get it to Ryan Telfer. Now Cuba under a little bit of pressure here. They managed to play through it, but Trinidad and Tobago have the ball back with Ross Russell Jr. He couldn't play it up ahead. Junior Perez gets ahead onto it first. Played out wide by Angel. Perez again. Sends it down this near side and no chances taken. A quick clearance. Jovan Jones back to help out. Lovely touches. Is it out of play? Yes, it is, before De La Cruz could save it. And it's a throw-in for Trinidad and Tobago. We're ticking down on the final 17 minutes plus stoppage time. Trinidad and Tobago back up to 4th, Cuba in 5th in the live table. And remember, these two teams play each other on the 14th in a rematch. Who's going to take the advantage into that Nations League finale next week? Ball's touched forward again towards Telfer, but Cuba settle it down. Perez from Vasquez. It's clipped onto the near side. De La Cruz. Crowd urging Cuba on. Can they peg their visitors back a second time? Here's Isaiah Lee trying to lead Trinidad and Tobago up the other end. Ross Russell Jr. has time and space. Again on this near side. He clips it into the middle and it's caught by a Rosarena. He did not want Jovan Jones to get a second try at it. He also didn't want Isaiah Lee to get a try on it either. Cuba come up the other end. On the layoff, it's clipped into the penalty area. And it's a chance to play it across. It's going to trickle in. Cuba have done it again. It's the substitute, Angel Casanova, who equalizes. It's turning into a Concacaf Nations League Classic, 2-2. The initial attempt stings the post. Nobody picks up Casanova. It's another dramatic Cuban equalizer. 2-2 with 15 minutes to play, and Cuba jumps back in front in the table. Is there no end to the Nations League drama? After two exquisite finishes, it's a tap-in, but it counts just the same. What are we going to be in store for in the next 15 minutes? It's been another marvelous contest. Ryan Telfer nearly squeaking through, but a Rosarena is there. Well, if you don't already have the rematch circled on your calendar, here's a reminder to do that. They'll play on Monday, once again, these two. But there's still 14 minutes left to play here in Cuba. Well, the 3 goals in the second half have all come in an 11-minute span. Cuba equalized. Trinidad and Tobago jumped out in front for a second time, only for Cuba to equalize again. And now De La Cruz tries to lead Cuba forward. The hosts have yet to lead in this game. Reyes is in the middle. They try to find him, and it's deflected out for a corner. Great work by Daniel Diaz again on that far side. He helped set up the last attempt. I think before the corner is to be taken, the referee is going to allow both teams to get a second half cooling break. Well, I'm sure a few watching didn't want to see the game stop. Back and forth we go. 3 of the 4 goals have been scored in the last, well, 13 minutes. Trinidad and Tobago had a 1-0 lead at the half. And again, incredible resolve from Cuba here. Down twice in this game. They've come back to equalize twice. Jovan Jones had just scored a marvelous goal to put Trinidad and Tobago back in front. Looks like Cuba are even as far as the offside play was there. Shot off the post. Casanova will score one of the easiest goals he'll ever score in his career. It was Reyes off the post. It was actually a good save from Fonset. Nothing he could do on the follow-up. And Cuba have come back not once, but twice. Inelise Castillo's side have just been marvelous. Any punch they've taken, they've responded. And he's trying to make sure they've got one more run left in them to maybe, just maybe, get all 3 points. That's exactly what Derek King will be doing in his corner, if you will. Well, for the neutral, this has been a marvelous game to take in. For the fans here in Cuba, and for the fans watching at home, it's been edge of your seat stuff. So again, in the live table, Cuba would go up into 4th position. And to be fair, that is where Cuba started the day. So they would stay in 4th in the grand scheme. Trinidad and Tobago would jump up 1 spot into 5th, but they'd still be in a relegation zone. Out of the cooling break, it's a corner for Cuba on the far side. Ray Angel scored a marvelous goal earlier in the half. Can he set one up here? He's going to play it short. It's then clipped into the penalty area. Ooh, and there was a push in the back. Daniel Morejon was actually the one who was closest to it for Cuba. But it's a moot point, and Trinidad and Tobago have the possession with about 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. De La Cruz, clever footwork. And he wins a throw-in on the near side, and there might have been a little bit of a touch on him from Justin Garcia. The referee, I think, is just going to give the throw-in for that. De La Cruz from the throw. Molino follows up. Was it a high boot? Yes, it was. Good follow-up by Perez to force the issue. And it's going to be a free kick for Cuba. Oh, on a second look, the boot wasn't actually as high as it looked initially, but high enough says the referee. Was getting up there, to be fair, from Molino. Well, maybe a little bit of a break there, and it's going to be a free kick in a very good spot. Angel standing over it, Matos standing over it. Matos will clip it, and it comes up short, cleared away by Russell Jr. Coming down on the final 8 minutes. What a match we've had. Second half has been a real joy to take in. Just another example of just how tight it really is in these 16 groups in League A. And remember, Concacaf Nations League has one more game tonight, Nicaragua against Jamaica, currently sitting in third and second respectively in this very same Group B. Of course, these two teams will probably be hoping that that one finishes in a draw. Trying to keep their hopes alive of getting into the top two. But right now, these two can't worry about that. Have to worry about trying to win this to get yourselves an advantage to avoid relegation, and then see if you can push up the table from there. That's why these next 7 minutes are very important. Cuba aren't able to come up with anything from the set piece. It's wonderful skill by Jovan Jones to get himself out of trouble. Gomez for Molino, the Columbus Crew. It's helped along for Russell Jr. Russell looks for a teammate to aim at. Forced to go back to Rampersad. Rampersad keeps it alive. He looks for help. Finds Alvin Jones. Plays it down the line for Gomez. Gomez for Molino. Alvin Jones controls. Trinidad and Tobago trying to gain a lead for a third time in the game. Garcia. Well, Cuba do well in the end. They force Trinidad and Tobago all the way back into their own end. And deep into their own end at that. Near side, here's Jovan Jones. Trying to find Russell Jr. And the visitors have a throw-in. Russell again. Molino gets it back, but couldn't return it to Ryan Telfer. It doesn't come off, and Cuba clear it away. Good follow-up by Diaz. Diaz holds up the plate beautifully there for Cuba. De La Cruz. Diaz continued his run. Reyes is in the middle. It's clipped towards Reyes! And it's saved in the end by Fonset. Oh, very awkward at the back stick. I think it was Aubrey David who did just enough, and then Adrian Fonset, the backup goalkeeper, keeps it out. Reyes is hurt behind the play. Telfer continues on. Cuba win the possession back. Another player's down, but Cuba keep on coming anyway. It falls for Diaz. Espino blocked. Handball appeals, and they're given. It comes off the arm of Russell Jr. It's a free kick for Cuba. And now the attention turns to Michael Reyes, who is still down next to the net. Well, Espino's shot and the arm was extended, it looked like, from Russell Jr. And Cuba get another set-piece opportunity here. Well, is Cuba's captain going to be able to continue here? That's the other big question right now. He's trying to continue on. Well, Trinidad and Tobago are going to have 5 men in the wall. Karel Espino, after there were 5 players around it for Cuba, has taken charge over this set-piece opportunity. Cuba have come back to level twice. Espino hits it into the wall and then volleys it over the top. Referee says there was a deflection. It's a corner. Now the first attempt needed more height on it, and the second one took a nick, so it is gonna be another set-piece chance. Reyes is still being evaluated for Cuba on the near side. This time the goal scorer, Ray Angel, is gonna take the corner. 2 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. Angel's ball in is cleared away. Can Trinidad and Tobago break up the other end? They're certainly gonna try. Lee on the near side is not gonna get there, but De La Cruz could not keep it in play. He stops the counter, but it is still a throw into the visitors as we tick down towards the 90th minute. Can someone go and win this game? Alvin Jones up ahead, it's cut out. Follow-up is sent away by Espino. He gets it back and tries to clip it up ahead. Reyes is back on, he's on the ball. Lovely little back heel there. Build-up play has been excellent at times for Cuba today, but that's cut out by Andre Rampersad. And Rampersad is fouled. It's a free kick. And now we await to see how much stoppage time there's going to be. Oh, and a throw of the ball. Not necessary there. Andre Rampersad was trying to contend that Cuba were stifling their free kick attempt and trying to stop them, but then the ball was thrown. Referee could have given a yellow for that. Elected against it. Molino. No ability to get the ball back to him because Lee was fouled, it looks like. Oh no, it's gonna go the other way. It's going to be a Cuba free kick. Lee is deemed to be the guilty party. Free kick for Cuba. Ends up being that decision there. And the fourth official is about to tell us that there's going to be a whopping 6 minutes of stoppage time to go. Plenty of time for someone to grab some late glory. Lee was booked. Oh, there was a handball appeal in there. Nothing given by the referee. And the ball up ahead's too far for Telfer. Arosarena's on the scene. I wonder if the referee didn't get the right angle on that. It looked like it did hit an arm earlier in the sequence. Ends up being a moot point. Nothing came of it. But something could have come of it. That's the point. Espino up ahead. And it's cut out by Garcia. Ooh, Garcia has some more work to do here. Pressured by De La Cruz. Cuba fighting to win the ball back. Touched ahead by Ross Russell Jr. And now maybe Trinidad and Tobago can bring it forward. Jovan Jones out to the far side for Ryan Telfer. 3 players to aim at. Telfer's cross is blocked. Reyes tries to save it. It's a throw-in for Trinidad and Tobago. Now, can Trinidad and Tobago restore their advantage for a 3rd time? Jones. Molino sliding it through, and too much on it for Shannon Gomez. It's a goal kick. And that'll take us down to the final 4 minutes. The crowd here in Cuba has been so good today, supporting their team. Another cheer from them, trying to push their country forward towards a late winner. But it's a giveaway here. Molino couldn't slide it through, it's cut out. Can Cuba bring it the other way? Again, the answer is no. Isaiah Lee nudges it along. Ross Russell Jr. for Andre Rampersad. Molino slides it through. Telfer. Oh, it comes off an arm. It's a free kick. Jovan Jones was open. Initially, I thought the referee may have given an offside ruling there, but the flag never went up. Handball is the decision. Another look. Oh, it must have just come off of Telfer's arm there, right at the beginning of the sequence. We didn't quite see the full view of it. Cuba get it away for now. 3 minutes remaining. No foul there, play continues. Cuba forced to retreat. Angel back to a Rosarena. And a Rosarena gives it right back to Trinidad and Tobago. His first mistake of the day, and he doesn't make many of them. Molino curling it in behind, and Ryan Telfer wasn't paying attention. He's in an offside position. The substitute actually had time to look before the ball came into him. But it fizzles out for Trinidad and Tobago here. Ticking down on the final 2 minutes left. A Rosarena up ahead. Is there to be one more big-time opportunity left? From the throw-in, Vasquez. Now it's going to be a throw-in the other way for Trinidad and Tobago. Alvin Jones. Oh, he just slithers it past the defender. Rampersad. Sliding it through, and it was touched towards Molino. Wasn't the worst idea. But a player for Trinidad and Tobago is down, and then it's won back by Jovan Jones. Here come the visitors again. Ryan Telfer, he's onside this time. Telfer across. And it is out for a corner for Trinidad and Tobago with a minute remaining. Is this to be the last big chance? Oh, we've had already so much drama. Can the Soca Warriors claim the win deep into stoppage time? This could be a huge moment in the context of the group. Telfer's ball in, comes up short. Reyes heads it away. Alvin Jones keeps it alive and sends it right back in. But the flag goes up, it wouldn't have counted. And frankly, Justin Garcia didn't get anywhere near it. But now there's a couple of possible head injuries. Medical staff are going to come on as the 6 minutes are up. Another look, great decision by the assistant referee. There was a crowded bit of players in there. Justin Garcia was offside. And again, there's going to be some time for the players to be evaluated here, but I can't imagine the referee is going to allow the play to continue on much longer. Junior Perez is the player down for Cuba. And it was, like we said earlier, Justin Garcia. They went head-to-head pretty much. It's going to be a free kick for Cuba, but again, not sure how much time, really. Sergio Reyna, our head official, is going to allow this to go on, as we were almost up anyway as far as the 6 added minutes. Looks like Perez is okay, at least for now. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Raiko Arozarena will send this ahead. He could get this into the penalty area, but how much more time will the referee allow? Sent ahead. Maybe there is going to be a little bit more time. There's a high boot. Oh, it's going to be a free kick. A free kick for Cuba. And a yellow card is out as well. Another look. Well, the high boot from Ross Russell Jr. leads to the contact, and maybe Cuba will get the last word on this Nations League group stage match. We're going to go into a 9th added minute. I can't imagine there's going to be much more time allowed after this sequence. This could be the last chance of the game. Cuba trailed twice. They've come back to equalize twice. Could they win it with the last touch? It's Ray Angel to take. Decent ball, but it's headed away, and that's that. Full time here in Cuba. What a game in the Concacaf Nations League. 2-2 is the final score. Cuba end up in 4th, where they began the day in Group B. Slight improvement for Trinidad and Tobago. They move from bottom to 5th, but they remain in the 2 relegation places going in to Monday's finale, where these 2 teams will meet for a 2nd time. And if this game's any indication, you're going to want to tune in for that one on Monday in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll step aside for a moment. You'll hear from a player each from each camp. We'll have highlights and stats to wrap up an instant classic, really, in the Concacaf Nations League. 2-2 is the final score between Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago.
Ya le entrevistando. ¿A qué jugar? Habla lo que yo te voy a preguntar y me responde y más nada. ¿Tú me dices? Daniel, no hables con más nadie, loco. No hables con más nadie. Dime. Daniel, jugar en un campo como este, un equipo en una situación complicada, marcar un gol que rescataba un punto importantísimo para tu equipo, ¿cómo viste y qué significa para ti?
No, buena al equipo mío, que el minuto 1 se mantuvo. El resultado no es de 45 minutos, es de 90. Y ya, gracias a Dios, debut y metí gol. Es muy importante para mí como jugador y aportándole puntos a la selección, aunque sea un empate.
En el momento que te toca entrar al campo, ¿visualizas, te imaginaste ese gol?
No, simplemente me enfoqué en hacerlo bien, si salía bien y si no, bueno, jugar un buen partido.
Bueno, recientemente te incorporaste a un club de una liga costarricense, han clasificado al Mundial, estás en el equipo de Cuba, marcas un gol. ¿Te parece un sueño todo esto que estás viviendo?
No, sí, un poco, ya que también en la liga de Costa Rica también debuté y metí gol. Y, ¿sabes? Todo es acumulativo, son cargas emocionales.
Por último, ¿cuán importante ha sido Juniel Castillo en toda tu carrera?
Un buen entrenador, confiando en mí desde el minuto 1 y me puso faltando, no sé, como 35 y confió en mí para poder jugar y retomar al equipo, ya que es un buen entrenador, en fin.
Felicidades y gracias por el partido.
Gracias.
Mike, ¿dónde está Mike? Mike. ¿Me avisa? Sí. Mike, en primer lugar, felicidades por ese gol. Otra vez Mike Reyes, el 9 de la selección cubana, sacando la cara por la selección. Mucho compromiso, mucha responsabilidad. Coméntame acerca de él.
No, yo siempre estoy dispuesto a jugar. A mí me gusta jugar al fútbol, que es lo primero que todo. Y cuando se trata de jugar para la selección, siempre estoy dispuesto. Yo solamente hago lo que me toca en el terreno. Y nada, creo que feliz por otro gol con la selección y poder aportar al equipo al empate, que queríamos la victoria, pero bueno, no se pudo.
Un partido difícil, se cae con un gol en contra de cara desde los primeros minutos, el rival demorando, haciendo su juego, obviamente, intentando sacar un punto visitador, pero sin embargo se vio un equipo trabajando mucho a pesar de las dificultades y que buscó siempre el gol y lo logró. Coméntame las claves de este empate que se logra viniendo 2 veces abajo.
No, creo que lo primero creo que en el segundo tiempo tuvimos más actitud que el primero. Creo que igual por ahí nos pesó un poquito el cansancio, pero bueno, supimos cambiar la mentalidad. Tuvimos una buena actitud en el segundo tiempo, pero bueno, no pudimos aguantar los resultados, pero bueno, sí pudimos empatar el partido, que es lo más importante, y creo que sí, que tenemos que seguir trabajando en esos errores, porque son errores que nos han venido con dificultades, creo que siempre. Entonces, si no aprendemos a manejar ese tipo de situaciones en el partido, creo que nos va a costar mucho en el futuro y ahora en estos partidos venideros.
Mucho se habla de algunos jugadores que quizás no tienen compromiso con sus selecciones y tal. Tú has marcado el gol. has tocado, has señalado a ese escudo que tiene la bandera cubana y la palabra Cuba. ¿Qué significa para ti representar a Cuba y jugar por Cuba?
No, jugar por Cuba primero que todo es mi país, fue donde yo nací y estas son mis raíces y creo que representar al país creo que es lo más sagrado que tiene un jugador, ¿no? Y eso es lo que me toca a mí. Yo estoy aquí y nada, yo creo que cada jugador, todos los jugadores tienen ganas de estar acá y de representar a Cuba, pero siempre, como te digo, siempre tienes que tener compromiso. Y bueno, hoy yo estoy aquí y mañana no sé quién estará, si estarán otra gente, bueno, bienvenido sea. Yo disfruto el momento, que es lo que me toca a mí y nada, o sea, seguir trabajando, ahora descansar y jugar el 14.
Bueno, felicidades, muchas gracias. Ah, bueno, ya. ¿Es que estaba esperando el otro que no venía? In English. In English. In English.
Yes, in English.
You got 1 point as a visitor. How do you feel about it?
For us, it's not a good feeling. We think we should have left the game with a win. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but it's now going back to the drawing board, and we have a very important game coming in Trinidad and Tobago, so we just need to go there and get 3 points.
Thinking and you need points. How do you think about this play that come later against the same rival?
No, for us it's a final. We know if we win the game, there's a good chance that we continue in a good place in the group. So basically it's a final for us, so we just need to go there and give everything, and we're going to be home, so we're going to have the home support, so we just need to go there and give everything for 3 points.
Good luck and thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, ya.
¿No hay otro?
Sean St. Jacques back here with you. We jump into the full-time highlights at the end of this one. It began in the 8th minute. Trinidad and Tobago jumping out on top. And a Sheldon Bateau header to give the visitors the lead here in Cuba. It was the perfect start for Derek King's side in a game both teams really could use a win in. And then Cuba had a good response. A shot off the post from Dairon Reyes. There was a ton of chances in the first half alone for these two teams to change the scoreboard. It would be Bateau's goal. That was the only one that stuck. Not for lack of trying. Another attempt. This time from Michael Reyes, the captain. Just wide of Smith's goal and of the target in total. Not able to find the equalizer there. Then Reyes to Reyes, Dairon to Michael. Michael's shot saved by Smith. That was right at the end of the half with a chance to equalize for Cuba. Great save from the Soca Warriors #1. Second half, Cuba continued to push for that equalizer. Reyes just wide. Dairon Reyes to be exact. Not quite able to hit the target. Great layoff by Matos. Good first time shot. Goalkeeper sees it just flash wide. This ended up being a big chance in the game. Jovan Jones could have made it 2-0, but he missed the target. Had 2 chances to shoot, elected to cut it back onto his left, and missed the target. That could have totally changed the game. Then, a long distance equalizer from Ray Angel. Made it 1-1. Brilliant strike from way outside. That made it a 1-1 game. A beauty of an equalizing goal, and that got Cuba back on track. 1-1 in the 64th minute. But Jovan Jones would make amends 6 minutes later. Rampersad with the chest down. Beautiful turn and finish. Jovan Jones with a magnificent responds to make it 2-1 with 20 minutes left. And at that time, it felt like that could have been that Trinidad and Tobago would use that to move on and win the game, but not so fast. Cuba would equalize. Reyes off the post, touched in by the substitute, Angel Casanova, to make it 2-2 with 15 minutes left. An incredible seesaw 11 minutes in this one. Trinidad and Tobago went from 1-0 up to 1-1 to 2-1 up, and then Cuba equalized again to make it 2-2, and that is how the match finished. Well, there were chances late on as well at the very end, but 2-2 is the final score. Again, Cuba outshot Trinidad and Tobago throughout, but the visitors controlled possession for a vast majority of the game. In the end, it came down to the clinical play. Both teams scored twice, and the plot thickens. These two teams will meet again in Trinidad and Tobago on Monday night. We'll have that one for you early next week. 2-2 is the final score here as we look at the updated table in Group B in League A. Cuba stays in 4th. Trinidad and Tobago, for now, jumps up to 5th. And, of course, Honduras won earlier. They lead the group before the big game later on tonight between Nicaragua and Jamaica. It continues, this Nations League campaign, to provide us with drama and plenty of twists and turns. We will say goodbye for now from Cuba. 2-2 is the final score after another wonderful encounter in the Concacaf Nations League.
Ya lo saque, ya nada más que alarle.